Let's go, girls. Come on.
From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up with Beck and Franklin is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they've always dreamed of. Why live in black and white when you can choose the brilliance of 3D and Technicolor? Each week, Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin and their high-powered guests will be here to cheer you on, to share their challenges, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. It's all about women supporting women. The stories and practical tips on sex, beauty, money, and so much more are designed to help you reconnect to the powerful woman you are. Fabulous knows no limits. Now it's time for you to expand your boundaries. Here are Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and today we have a treat for you, oh boy, because I'm a huge fan. Linda, you know how I was like a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago when we had Dr. Gallenberger on, and I first got introduced to his products and their meditation CDs. And for somebody like me who has trouble sitting still and, you know, meditating, to have something to listen to was just huge.
Yeah, well, I have to ask him that question today because I find the voice distracting. So, you know, when I do transcendental meditation, it's just me and the mantra and breathing and whatever comes or doesn't come into my head. And so I want to know if there's anything, if it's different doing that, or is the result different, or does it take another track when you are actually doing a guided meditation, which I think Dr. Gallenberger's are, and so many others. I mean, you know, you hear the voice and they sort of guide you through it rather than sit there in your silence.
Well, you know, there's so many things that run through my head because once I got introduced to this stuff, I went on YouTube and I started pulling up like all these different guided meditations. And if people have a really crappy voice or they have a weird accent or like this one lady was just grating to listen to, I really found it hard to find good guided meditation. And I stuck with this, you know, Dr. Gallenberger's. I like the Liquid Luck and the Abundance Waterfall. And I can even do his imitation. It's like, hi, this is Dr. Joseph Gallenberger. And his voice is soothing. I'm like Pavlov's dog now. I immediately calm down when I hear his voice because so much of it, Linda, I think is the music choice and the person's voice, and then the meditation they guide you through, because some of these YouTube things, they're really dumb. And I halfway through my meditation, I'm like, this is just not cutting it for me.
No, well, you know, it depends on all those things, and everybody's different. And there's meditation tapes that just have sounds, or, you know, crystal singing bowls, or all sorts of different things. And if you find it irritating, then it's not taking you where you want to go.
No.
Because irritation is what you're trying to get away from.
That's right.
I know
right.
I am.
Well, and my yoga teacher had an interesting perspective today because I told her, you know, I was so excited to have Dr. Gallenberger on today's show, and I showed her some of his stuff and how much I liked it. And I said to her, her name's Kathy, I said, Kathy, I have the hardest time sitting still. And she looked at me and she goes, well, of course you do. She says, you work on a computer all day, you sit still all day. And so she wants me to do this movement meditation, and she says, you can listen to your guided meditation. And, you know, so many of these meditations, they're like, you have to lay down, sit still, sit cross-legged, I don't know, wrap your leg around your neck, whatever they tell you to do. But I'm frozen and shackled to a computer all day. So the last thing that is restful and relaxing to me is to sit. And so tonight after the show, me and Dr. G are going to go for a walk because I'm going to put him on my headset and I'm going to walk with him and see if that works better for me than sitting still.
I don't know. I think these are all good questions to ask because, you know, I just want to get to a place where I'm very quiet, my mind is very quiet, and I'm looking to hear some wonderful gems come through. And, it hasn't happened yet, but, I guess I'm about 6 weeks in on a constant basis every day. But, I'm not going to give up because I figured this is my time, for thanking the powers that be and gratitude. And if nothing comes through, nothing comes through. But I am in a very quiet, relaxed place anyway. And if nothing comes through, I don't get frustrated. I just sit there and do my mantra, and that's it. I have Dr. Gallenberger's tapes too. The first two that you talked about, and in some of them he asks you to do something. And,
yeah.
And I'm, I don't know if this is like exercises or it's actually meditation. So, I don't know. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy them because I didn't. It was very relaxing and I did enjoy it. But is it really true meditation that, that you're getting out of the way so something can come in, or is it more of an exercise? And those are good questions to ask.
They are good questions, especially because his new series, Abundant Heart and Healing Heart, like this is where it kind of rocked my world, going like, okay, we're going to meditate on the heart. Like to me, that was like a body-mind disconnect. I'm like, I get meditation is supposed to quiet the mind, but quieting the mind and then opening the heart and healing the heart, that was just one step like beyond my cosmic understanding of things. And so I just went right back to my waterfall because I grew up near a little waterfall in a stream, and when he has you walk through this thing, I can totally get into it. And my liquid luck now, I have so much fun with the liquid luck, and I'll shut up about these products. And I want everybody to know nothing was paid to Linda or I to promote these products today. I'm just a big fan of Dr. Gallenberger's work, and I think it's valuable and helpful to me, so I wanted to share that. But before we get any further, Linda, I'd love to bring on Dr. Gallenberger. Dr. Gallenberger, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening, Linda and Sandra.
Good evening.
I love to listen to you. You're like, don't say anything to your wife, but sometimes I go to sleep with you, and tonight we're going to walk together.
Sounds good. I'll apologize tonight getting over a first cold in 5 years, so it might be a little gravelly.
Oh, so Dr. Gallenberger, it's been a while since you've been on the air with us. Would you share with our listeners a little bit about your background and what led you to make this CD series?
Sure. I'm a clinical psychologist by trade, had a psychotherapy practice for about 30 years. But I also had quite a bit of interest in meditation for expanded states of awareness and out-of-body kinds of phenomena. And so I been working 25 years up at Monroe Institute in Virginia, where they have 6-day programs that, with no need to adopt any dogma, a person can explore their own consciousness using a brainwave technology they call HemiSync, which is based on binaural beat, which is in all these CDs that you guys have mentioned. And I was listening to the questions before you brought me on, and I think some of those are excellent, and I look forward to getting to them to answer the difference between something like TM, transcendental meditation, and the kinds of things we're doing.
See, and that's really important because there's different times, Dr. G, like when I feel like my business needs a bump, I whip out liquid luck and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to do some liquid luck and get myself back in track. And then when I'm feeling depleted, I reach for Abundance Waterfall. And it's really become truly this Pavlov dog thing. And then I hear your voice, I start to relax. And I bet you I've listened to each one of these CDs 200 times. I kid you not, in the last year. And
wonderful.
Thank you. Well, thank you because you made them. I only listened. But I get different things from them at different times. And, we're kind of fooling with our brain here or retraining our brain or doing stuff with our brain. So how does it, and we have about 3 minutes to the end of the episode, how does the brain respond differently to the same thing each time?
Well, what the binaural beat does and the verbal guidance is bringing left from the right brain into synchrony, and that left brain usually is where ego and worry about past and future are and things. So as you get a more whole brain state going, it tends to be both very relaxing and generating of creativity and things. That's, our goal on that. The results, probably on a brainwave basis, are fairly common. You would, if we looked at your brain, it would go from a more active state to a more relaxed state, and then a beginning to increase the kinds of brainwave patterns that are associated with being in contact with guidance. But on a particular day, if you're very, very tired, for example, it might be very refreshing. If you're very agitated, it might be more relaxing. If your goal was to give your business a boost using imagery like on Liquid Luck, you might even find the exercise fairly exciting, and then afterward feel like you have given your business a real boost, and hopefully you would get some synchronistic things happening in the next day to confirm that for you. Does that make any sense?
It does, because one of the things I was making some notes for today's show that I wanted to share with you is, like, I kind of blow into my bathroom like Wile E. Coyote, and, I'm doing 10 things at once and filling up my big jacuzzi tub and throwing bath salts in, all these things. Then I hop in the tub, and it's almost like the weather. I come in and my brain is either like a rainstorm, or sometimes it's a tornado or a windstorm, or it can be an earthquake, or it can be like after an earthquake. Like, that's how my brain feels. And, like scrambled eggs. And then it just seems to like calm everything down up there. And I was, curious if I was imagining things, and I'm going to need to take us to commercial break, but the sun comes out like after I finish your CD, and I feel like I can create and produce or sleep. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk more with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger. His products are Liquid Luck, Abundance Waterfall, Abundant Heart, and Healing Heart, among other programs. And we're going to talk about how we can use our brain to get our best benefit. And we're going to talk also about how these products work. More after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us because we know that quilting changes everything.
Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? Right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com. Infant care specialist Blythe Lipman has worked with babies for over 20 years and works extensively with new parents, providing workshops, in-home visits, tips, and daily phone calls to ease those frazzled nerves. With Baby and Toddler Instructions, you can get the advice you need on how to survive and enjoy your baby's first year. For more information on Blythe and how she can help you, go to babyinstructions.com. From 32 ways to stop a baby from crying to 14 ways to get a baby to eat and so much more. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we are visiting today with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger, and he produced two of my favorite products, Liquid Luck and Abundance Waterfall, which I use regularly for a tune-up when I start to feel a little edgy or cross, or my brain just doesn't feel right, like it feels scrambled, like scrambled eggs, or I'm frustrated, or things aren't going properly in my business, or even my home or my personal life. I just choose one of the two. One of them tells me, oh, it's time to do Liquid Luck, or it's time to do Abundance Waterfall. And I give myself a tune-up. And Dr. G, I go into this like kind of all crazy. And then I listen to your voice and we go on these guided things. And I find myself, it's really funny after doing these, like when it's time to take a drink of the swirling bowl, I actually have caught myself holding the bowl and putting it up to my mouth and being surprised that there's nothing there. But this is very different than like that transcendental meditation where you're supposed to go blank. You're very entertaining. I'm hook, line, and sinker along with you.
Okay.
And, you know.
So many of the Eastern traditions where TM came from, etc., they aimed for detachment from physical life as a goal to get away from life's pain, and also in meditation to get into a state of empty mind or blank mind. We, in the Western meditation style, will usually aim for a very relaxed mind, a calmness, but then once that calmness is achieved, we move into more what some traditions would call contemplation. We might be contemplating the beauty of our own heart, or how much abundance we have in our life, or we might be even more active generating something like Liquid Luck generates, where you bring in energies such as happiness and praise and compassion and feeling fortunate, that then you can move into your day feeling up and very lucky in that situation. And when you do that, then synchronicities, serendipities tend to come into your life. So we have things like people selling a house in an hour that's been on the market for 3 months. So they both have very good function, but the TM model coming from the Eastern is more of a let's get really blank and let's detach from the physical world. My model is a little bit more of let's approach the physical world, but from a place of very high positive energy. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does to me, and I'm doing the transcendental. But on occasion I do yours as well. Are you telling me that basically the result is the same, or is yours really? Is it really meditation, or is it like an exercise? Affirming the powerful you.
I would call it, I would say it really is a meditation, but again, there are different types or varieties of meditation. I think TM is very valuable, and I knew some TM people that said if I didn't do my 20 minutes morning and evening of TM, I think I'd be insane, with the stresses in the culture. The type of meditation that we're using here with binaural beat has as many, in my opinion, perhaps even more benefit, with also rejuvenating the body, mind, and spirit, useful for addiction processes, useful for reducing anxiety, reducing agitation, as Sandra mentioned, that scrambled brain feeling. And for most Westerners, it will be easier to do and faster than the discipline required by transcendental meditation to try to get your mind blank.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to yours for just a little bit because lately I don't know exactly why, but I'm feeling very, and nothing's happened. I just feel very stressed.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason. Kind of sometimes a little lightheaded. when you're overly stressed or something, and I don't know why. And of course, you start to think, physically there's something wrong with you. But today I actually went into one of the vitamin shops and said, have you got any, natural product that's good for stress? So she gave me something. And while I was talking to cashier, the woman that was paying for other products said, hey, if you come up with something, let me know, because I'm feeling really crazy stressed lately. And then the cashier actually said she has a friend that's going through this horrible anxiety. So it seems like everybody is maybe reacting to the crazy energy that the universe is putting out.
Well, I don't even know if I'll blame the universe, but socially, we're social creatures, and we got this election going on with all the stuff that's there. Plenty, the media sells, blood leads, as they say, all the violence and all of the shootings and all of this. And since we're social creatures, we respond, the phrase on my wall is, fear is expensive, love is priceless, choose wisely. Mm-hmm. They would love you to choose fear.
Yes, absolutely.
You need to really, that's where meditation can come in of either type, to try to be an antidote to that kind of fear that's being constantly promoted now. You can also do well by turning off, 5 hours of broadcast news and surrounding yourself with the beauty of nature and wonderful friends. But it is a challenge right now to maintain your center and to not feel stressed.
And I don't think consciously you realize, because, I don't watch a lot of news but my husband does, it's on, and you sort of hear it, but it's almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. You're not really realize how much you're taking in, and then one day something goes gafooey and you say, I wonder where that came from.
Yes, and even in the background, it's pretty toxic. And the cool thing is, though, if you do meditate regularly, particularly the way the products I did have been designed, you raise your energy so much that you're not as sticky to the fear forms, if you will. Mm-hmm. You don't react with the same fight-flight. You're still aware that there's challenges in the world, but you could go down the same street in a car, one person worrying about being in an accident and the other person seeing the daffodils along the side of the road. And so if you can get off of the treadmill of fear, you begin to really have some resilience to all of this. So that's what we're hoping to build in, so that people in general are feeling better, and they have also now built in a real strong resistance to biting into the drama around them. And they tend to resonate, and so with that, it gets easier and easier rather than harder and harder.
Right. Well, by nature, I am a worrier. And so not necessarily that I'm going to get blown up by terrorists, but just, everyday little things. I seem to worry more than a lot of other people. So I think it just eventually takes its toll. So if by listening to your tapes, if that can alleviate some of that's innate. I mean, it's like, when something happens, you just feel it. It's not even a thought, it's a feeling.
Yeah, we could be empathic. I know my mom was, quote, a warrior. She was raised during the Depression. Some of that gets passed on culturally. Yes, I think these things are a great antidote to that. I have the fortune of teaching workshops around the world in meditation, so 20, 30 weeks of the year, I'm in a meditative state for a week at a time while I'm teaching. That builds in, a terrific resilience. But most people, if they can manage even 2 or 3 of these roughly half-hour meditations a week, they'll notice a big difference.
Well, and I can tell you, Linda and I are so different, Dr. G. I am happy-go-lucky girl. I wake up in the morning happy, and I usually go to bed happy, and I'm not a worrier. But I do have screaming kids and barking dogs and a broken pipe. I have the things that everybody else has, and I find that I start to get worn down and run down, and then I get crabby and weepy. And I know when I'm crabby and weepy, it's time for me to do a tune-up. And I really really rather sit down and listen to a CD in the bathtub with a candle or with some nice bath salts and listen to your CD than have a glass of wine or, take a drug to, get the same effect. But you really don't get the same effect, because one of the things I will say, in the year that I've been working with your products, I find that my resiliency for stress is so much higher. And as a single mom, soul supporting with 2 kids who own a technology company, where clients are very common to say, well, just fix this. Can it be done by tomorrow? And I'm like, well, nobody's ever done this in human history. I'll get back to you, not too much stress and pressure there. You can just roll with it. And you get a feeling that of separateness, but wholeness. Like, I am separate from you. These are your anxiety. These are your problems, but I can go to my own wholeness place. And that's as goofy as I can get in explaining what the gift is from your products.
Well, thank you. I think you did a wonderful job on it, and it really delights me that it's working so well for you. And again, when we're real agitated, even about the kids or whatever, we tend to ruminate over and over, and so when we try for that blank mind, it can be really frustrating to try TM when we're very agitated. If you've been doing it for years, you get better and better at it. But most people haven't put that time in, and I really wanted something that would reach most people quickly, where they will be, the guided meditation allows me to help fill their mind with very positive imagery, and that takes the place of whatever maybe they were obsessing or worrying about. So both, again, are good. One is maybe a little easier to do than the other for most Americans after a busy day, if you will.
Sure.
And when we come back, I want to hear about Dr. G's new program, the new meditation about the heart, because that's
sure.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take us to commercial break. We are visiting today. This is Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin of Powered Up Talk Radio. We are visiting today with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about Dr. G and his products, you can go to his website, SyncCreation. That's SYNC Creation, CREATION, SyncCreation.com. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the Heart series. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42. Tossing pennies into the fountain of youth.
Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Be here for Living Inspired with Tricia Goyer, Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Tricia will dig deep into topics that matter most to women, inspiring women to make a change in their own lives and to make a difference in the world, and maybe even deep within their own hearts. Tricia is a wife, mom, speaker, family expert, and author of 24 books. For more information on Tricia and Living Inspired, go to her website, TriciaGoyer.com. That's TriciaGoyer.com. Tricia's vision is to be the voice of hope and possibility for women of all ages. Her intention is to serve ordinary women by encouraging extraordinary things with God's help. Tricia expresses real life, real hope for real women. Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Living Inspired with Tricia Goyer. Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. If you could live your life truly standing in a place of peace, joy, and abundance, wouldn't that make your heart soar? Now you can, with Lessons in Joyful Living, with your host, Kimberly Rinaldi, Mondays at noon Central. Kimberly Rinaldi, having created a highly successful coaching practice, now teaches Lessons in Joyful Living. She believes in empowering others and that through it, you have the ability to break through any and all barriers, thus allowing you to reach your greatest potential and joyfully step into your life's purpose. What used to take weeks, months, or even years, she can now teach you in a matter of hours with her programs. For more on Kim and her show, go to her website, KimberlyRinaldi.com. That's RINALDI.com. Then join us for Lessons in Joyful Living with your host, Kimberly Rinaldi.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's some more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
This is for all you girls.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin of Powered Up Talk Radio, and we're visiting today with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger. Now, if you like today's show and you'd like to listen to a couple hundred hours of other shows like this, you can go to powereduptalkradio.com. You can go to our host station, TogiNet, that's TogiNet.com, or you can go to iTunes under Powered Up Talk Radio. Now, if you've been listening today, you know that we talked about an earlier episode with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger from last year. If you go to iTunes and type in his name, our show will come up. So I'm really proud of, thank you, TogiNet, for putting us everywhere that we can be found. Now, we're going to talk the second half about the heart. And the hardest thing that I have, Dr. G, is I know the heart and the head are connected, but it's just weird to me to think that you can meditate and it will help your heart or like heal your heart. And Linda, you were talking a little bit about taking on other people's stress and with respect to the heart. I'd love to throw the mic over to you, and then we can continue on with talking about the heart.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that I do it with certain people. I have to be very. That's why I keep a lot of people at a distance, because if they're not feeling well or they've got something happening, I feel a pain. I feel it. It hurts, especially my husband. It really hurts. And I said I have enough of my own stuff going on with my issue. I don't want to take on his, and yet I guess it's, the worry part of me that, takes on somebody else's stress or somebody else's crazy. And, I don't like it. So if Dr. Gallenberger's tapes can help me, resist that would be wonderful. And I know we've had a lot of people on the show, and I know people myself that, have special gifts and that are psychic and really feel energy. And they have to protect themselves because there's so much bad energy just walking around. I live in New York City, so it's crazy that, you don't want to take on other people's stuff. So, I guess my question is that a common thing that people do, or is it just me and I'm cuckoo?
Yeah, so I think we're built to be very high energy beings and to get our energy in unlimited quantity directly from source, however we define that, God, beauty of nature, whatever way you want to put it. But we're often cut off of that, and so then we are energy starved, and we'll tend to try to get energy from other people by being the good girl or the good boy or the bad boy or the bad girl, what have you. And if we do that, then other people can manipulate our energy either consciously or unconsciously. So one of the best antidotes I can think of is using the meditations as well as being out in beauty of nature, whatever, to really raise your energy very high, getting it directly from source. Then when you meet other people, you kind of celebrate. If they're in positive energy, you can celebrate with them. But if they're in negative or stressful energy, you'll just resonate at a different frequency than they are. So it's a question of making sure you're very well energy fed, if you will. And many people who are empathic and all have allowed themselves to bring in other people's drama enough that their energy is not at its best. And once you're down that way, then, every little thing somebody else does can agitate you. I have 3 teenage daughters. They're now a little older than that. But they provided ample opportunity to decide whether you were going to be stressed on a given day when you heard what happened that day,
Yeah. No, I'm pretty selective in when it happens. But it's certainly not a conscious thing, especially with my husband. It just happens.
No, when somebody's very close to us, in that situation, my wife just had some knee surgery this month. Naturally, we're going to hook in a bit. But if you can see, keep reminding yourself that they have their own journey. It's a question of a place where you can be very empathic and yet not resonate with drama.
Right. Is your new tape, the Heart series, is that one of the best ones for this particular issue?
It's a good one to resets your energy, the healing heart particularly, to very high and fine for yourself. And there is actually one called, we haven't mentioned, called Partners Meditation, designed where you would listen and have in mind the important people in your life. First time, maybe your mom. Second time, your husband. Third time, your child. And see them in their highest and finest, you in the same. See your contracts between each other, change what you'd like to change, and really designed to make that relationship a much higher energetic than it might be at the present. When people go through all their loved ones, even bosses and things, important people in their life, they usually report their whole energy takes another quantum jump up because they're no longer stuck in the usual patterns with the people.
And this one's called Partners?
Partners Meditation, yeah.
And this is on your website as well?
And it's on the website, yes.
Okay, great. And
going back to the heart ones, there's two, Healing Heart, and your question was how can mental meditation help you get in touch with your heart and then help heal it? Again, with the binaural beat things, with beautiful music that's on there, with other kinds of sound stimulation, we're moving you from our usual Western left brain state into a whole brain state that gentles the ego. When that happens, you begin to be able to get in touch with the intelligence of your own heart, and verbally you're guided further to do that. And once the heart is activated, I've been doing manifestation work and energy healing work for a couple decades now, and I find the highest, best, beautiful energy to do this from is the energy of an open heart. That's why I developed the Healing Heart CDs, because I find that energy so powerful. And just quieting that left brain, quieting down the mind, really allows us more easily to move into heart space if then we begin to say, think of a loved one or a beautiful pet that we love or a place in nature we love. And because our mind's quiet, we don't get distracted back to, what about the gas main that needs to be replaced, or what about the plumber that needs to come? You're able to stay with that. Most people, if they saw pictures of soldiers returning from war, reunited with their children, or baby puppies being born, their hearts will open, but they'll stay only open for a few minutes. And then the next phone call, it closes down, if you will, if it's not a pleasant phone call. The technology in the Healing Heart and Abundant Heart are designed to really get you to a place where you exercise that almost like a muscle, and you get very good at moving into heart space quickly when you need to.
So, okay, I got a question here because this is where I get all tripped up.
Okay.
I have a heart.
Okay, good.
I hope so.
I hope so. But, I get the brain balancing. I get, my right and my left, because sometimes I get a headache in my right side, sometimes I get a headache in my left side, and I can actually feel the balancing. Maybe I'm imagining it, but I can feel the balancing. I feel better in my head after I do these CDs. But your heart open, that's hard for me. Is there a door? Is it like an energy wall in the way? I really don't understand what it means. What does it mean to be heart open or to have your heart open?
Okay, great. It's a term that we use, and it's probably kind of a loosey-goosey term, or basically meaning that you move into a place where you feel very loving toward yourself and others, so a place of deep compassion. It's also a place where everything feels in right order, even if there's grief and pain, associated with it. There's this underlying sense that it's going to be okay. So what we're really talking about when we say open heart is to feel very open and loving. Openness meaning, not defended, not feeling like you're in battle, you have to defend against an attack. So one of the people I admire best, before you were talking about New York City, her favorite phrase was, the best defense is none. And she just let things kind of wash through her, if you will, with an underlying trust. Does any of that help?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I've worried, like, and Linda knows this because I've asked this question to, a bunch of different people. Like, I was worried my heart was closed, and then I got into that whole thing, like, do people who are crazy know they're crazy, and do they think they're crazy, and then they're not crazy because they're wondering if they're crazy? So I started getting myself in this heart open circle in researching today's show, and I feel very heart open. I don't worry about people hurting me. I always feel like it's going to be okay no matter what's going on. So the process of me trying to be more heart open was really confusing to me because I didn't feel like, and I know we can all improve, Dr. G, but I really was stumped on that going, I don't.
Yes. You may well be naturally very open-hearted. Many people are. And, you have to watch because people can go, oh, your heart chakra's closed, almost in a judgmental way, which then makes you feel threatened and you close off a little further. Open-hearted people tend to laugh easily, tend to feel the emotions of others in a sympathetic way and an empathetic way. They tend to respond really strongly to the beauty of music and nature. They get, since I've talked to you, I have a new grandchild, our first grandchild. She's now a year old, and she just melts my heart every time she comes over.
Oh.
You may just be fortunate to be in a situation where you live from quite an open-hearted place. And you're right, I think, for myself, I find I can always do it more or do it better, whatever way you want to put it, that as you move further into open-heartedness, usually people begin to feel ecstasy states. They may, feel really in touch with God or Source or hear angelic choirs or can appear many different ways, but when ecstasy means outside of yourself. There's a sense of oneness. Your own personality can fade.
Oh, Dr. G, I got to take us to commercial break. We're going to hear
Sure.
more about being heart open after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Secret Cuisines and Sacred Rituals is a quest, a place, and a feast. Join host Vilasi Venkatachalam every week to explore myths, mystique, old medicine, and brilliant modern solutions through a dazzling kaleidoscope of cuisines, cultures, and cures. This is the place where tribes gather, strangers and familiars, to be memory keepers and makers of our evolving, enduring, evergreen, spoken legacy of wisdom and ingenuity. In Velasi's words, when we do old things in new ways and new things in old ways, we paint with an inspired palette, weave our own healing traditions, and become our own guru. Velasi is a troubadour of secret cuisines and sacred rituals. She collects stories of wisdom, ingenuity, and grit. She believes wellness and transformation happen when you stand at the threshold of delight and discovery. She displays her hidden penchant for drama when she leads the safari at the supper club. Her favorite pastime is to extol the marvels of cuisines, cultures, and cures. To her audience in workplaces, seminars, and salons, her mantra is, be your own guru. She is a biochemist, botanist, and alchemist who likes to churn delightful, useful things from a brew of art and science, ancient and evolving, old medicine, and new cures. Join Velasi every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
It's words you never heard.
Well, the U.S. sure has experienced torrential thunderstorms, lightning, and flooding recently. Thunderstorms, otherwise known as cockeyed bobs, can be pretty scary. What's the fear of thunder and lightning called? Astrophobia. Years ago, Roy Sullivan, a Virginia Park ranger, was struck by lightning 7 different times and lived to tell about it. Lightning struck his head through his hat, set his hair on fire, and burned his eyebrows off. The current from the lightning traveled through both legs and blew his shoes off. The final lightning bolt hit him while fishing, and he was hospitalized for chest and stomach burns. Believe it or not, Roy Sullivan managed to recover from 7 lightning strikes, but later died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound as a result of loneliness, otherwise known as azygophrenia.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and this is Powered Up Talk Radio, and we're visiting today with Dr. Joseph Gallenberger, and if you want to get your hands on some of these CDs, you can go to SyncCreation.com, SYNC Creation.com. You can also type in Dr. Gallenberger, Gallenberger, and this comes up. So that being said, Dr. Gallenberger, can people change how they're made? Like, you know, Linda and I have been friends a long time, and I think we really complement each other. I know I value her highly just the way she is, and I wouldn't want to change her. But if she wanted to change or I wanted to change because we were unhappy, that's a whole different ballpark. And one of the things that happened during my marriage was my ex-husband all the time would call me Pollyanna. You're such a Pollyanna. How do you get up in the morning with a bright smile on your face? And, you know, Pollyanna, which became a term of endearment and then an insult, I just didn't change. You know, no matter what I went through, I can't not help but see the glass half full. And, you know, there's those who feel and see it half empty. Can opening your heart change that? Like, what does opening your heart do for you, like, once you open it?
Yes, I think, you know, we have certain set points, okay? But I think it can change quite a bit. I'm thinking with what you said, I got an email from a fella from South Africa last week, and I'm looking to see if I can put my hands on it. Basically, he's saying for 40 years he's been suspicious, bad mood, those kind of things. Here it is. Now he's finding himself in his relationship with family after more than 30 years of tension and fighting to be so much improved. Gosh, I'm really pleased. I also used to be a very negative thinker, and once in a bad mood, it was tough getting out. In the past 3 months or so, using the CDs, I've become more and more the person I always wanted to be. I get lots more compliments from people about how good a person I am. So that came in from South Africa. So that would be a good evidence, you know, if applied, people can change quite a bit what their usual point is. If people are feeling threatened or they are self-conscious or they don't feel good about themselves, that's real hard to move away from that unless you do something about it. You know, some people, it sounds like you're a naturally optimistic, exuberant person, which is wonderful. But I've seen a lot of people who didn't come by that naturally change to the place they say, I don't recognize myself. And they like their new self much better, if you will.
Okay, so... Oh, Linda, do you have a question? Otherwise, I got
Well, you were just, you know, because you were asking Dr. G, you know, saying, you know, about the open heart and you didn't understand it, and you know, you're a head person and all of that. But you really are a big heart person because of the way you describe yourself and your relationship with your kids, and you wake up smiling, and you do have an open heart, don't you think so? Just by listening to her,
I would agree.
Yeah.
So we're asking her to do something she already does very naturally.
Yes.
And yet, you know, I think, again, I'm quite open-hearted myself, and I find exercising that muscle, if you will, you can get more and more so, and yet be very protected, not from being suspicious of other people, but because your energy is so nice and high. When you do that, your intuition tends to get razor sharp and right on, and things happen in ways that really support you. So I think you can't be too open-hearted, if you will. Too open-hearted, when people say that, they really mean that the person is more in a position where they're afraid somebody wouldn't like them, or they're always trying to be nice. That's different.
Now, let me ask you, you've got these 5 products, because I own 4 out of the 5, so I'm
Okay.
excited. So here, this is where I need some sorting. Now, with Liquid Luck, why would somebody choose Liquid Luck over the other CDs? Like, what's in it for them?
Okay, Liquid Luck's designed to, after listening even once or twice, to trigger you having an exceptionally lucky day. So that's a great one to do before buying a lotto ticket, going for a job interview, going on a first date, whatever. Abundance Waterfall is designed for you to see all the abundance in your life already. Pets, beauty of nature, books you've read, friends, and see yourself as already abundant. And then if there's something like health or spiritual guidance you want to increase, see that part of the waterfall increasing. So it does something a little different, if you will. The partner's meditation we mentioned is focused on relationship, and then Healing Heart is designed for not only healing your heart, but healing everything into your full potential. So you don't have to have a sore knee, but healing more into your full and completely potential for this life, and then sending that energy to other people as a blessing. And Abundant Heart is designed to, once the heart's open, to really give you an opportunity to listen to what your heart would say it would like you to manifest. Our egos will often say, I'd like a soulmate or a car or a new job. And your heart, when it's open, you may hear a very different message. So people have said, listening to that, oh my gosh, my heart had a lot to say to me. I wish I hadn't waited so long to listen to it. So does that make sense, to give you a flavor of the different kinds of things?
It does, because when I need to work on my business, or I need money, or I've got some unexpected expense, I reach to the Liquid Luck. And when I'm feeling drained, like the kids have just burned me out, I reach for Abundance Waterfall. And the funny thing is, okay, we talk about listen to what the heart wants. When I did the Abundant Heart, that's why I really thought I did something wrong, because the Abundant Heart meditation that I did kept saying, you're not ready for someone else yet. There's still work you need to do. There's things that you need to do for yourself before you bring a husband into the picture. And, and I was kind of like, what? Like, here we're like manifesting gold and swirling it around in a bowl, and then we get to go on this nice waterfall, and then I pick up the other CD and it's like, you're not ready yet. But the truth is, there's too many things I need to do before I can devote the time to a relationship. And that came through clearly in your meditation. I might not have liked it, but
wonderful.
It was powerful.
Yeah, that's that truth. The heart will tend to speak the truth more than the mind. In many systems, they've decided that that's true. So that, when you take that time that you need, and then the person comes at the absolute right timing, you're going to be so happy you waited. But in the meantime, you might feel loneliness or doubt if that person's ever going to show up,
Well, a little bit, but most of the time I'm really happy. Like, I really enjoy my life, and I don't want to put another wrench in the monkey works. And unfortunately, a husband feels like a wrench in the monkey works right now.
Then that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think you're ready.
No,
when your heart is open wider and using this tape, and it gives you a closer relationship with spirit or your soul mission, doesn't it? Because that's where it comes from. It's all about heart and love. It's certainly not about the brain.
Yes, it does put you in those terms. I think is a good way to put it. You will tend to feel more one within yourself, body, mind, and spirit, more one with others, and very much more one with spirit. And so you'll be more in touch of yourself as a spiritual being. There's no opposite to love, but fear can cloud love. So as you're moving into these deep, relaxed states and getting away from fear, that's where older, you feel more love. And with that, then it's easier for the universe to begin to speak with you at a higher level, if you will.
Right, and it's just like you were talking about your new grandbaby. When new ones come into the world, I mean, they're so close to spirit. I mean, they're just like all love until we whip it out of them.
Yes,
they're so close. It's like
they are, and we. If you think of the wide open hope of a child when they want a birthday present or something, it's the parent tries everything to get it to happen. I think the universe is like that, too, as we move into these more wide-open states. But again, we've often been, because we've been hurt, taught to kind of be wary, be cautious, and open-heartedness is not the same as being gullible. It's really a finer way to defend yourself, because you'll defend yourself through much more being in touch with spirit and intuition, and so you'll see things coming before they can affect you negatively.
Wonderful.
Well, Dr. G, you know how you have your, plaque on your wall? I have a plaque on my wall. It's actually a Post-it, but it says, "Don't mistake my kindness for weakness." And I think a lot of times people with an open heart, we do have a lot of kindness and we do have a lot of compassion, but don't mistake that for weakness.
That's correct. Opposite of weakness.
Yes, strength.
So with
strength.
a great open heart, I've had to have some very difficult conversations. If I were your therapist and I was in an open-hearted state and you said, "I'm ready for my soulmate," I might have had to say to you, if my intuition and my open heart was, "You're wonderful and you're beautiful and you need a little more time to do this, that, or the other," it would have been delivered with great love. But, so I think, some people think open heart means I'll be gullible, I'll be manipulated, I'll be weaker. It's just the opposite.
Oh, well, thank you, Dr. Gallenberger. Your products, Liquid Luck, Abundance Waterfall, Abundant Heart, The Healing Heart, Partners CD. You guys need to check it out at syncreation.com or type in Dr. Joseph Gallenberger. That's Gallenberger. On behalf of Linda Franklin and myself, I'd like to thank you for listening to us today. We're going to be back again next week with more great spiritual heart opening and super fun guests. For those of you that missed the first half of today's show, check us out on iTunes. You won't be sorry that you did. We'll talk to you guys again next week.
We're so glad you joined us for Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. Sandra Beck, Los Angeles-based single mother and technology company owner, knows what it's like to be fit, funny, and fantastic in your 40s. Linda Franklin, a New Yorker with a successful marriage and